Okay. So I was working on the gallery update bug. I found the issue. I was trying to fix it. It's a route which is missing on the gallery. So we'll see that. Meetings. First thing for the notes, and nobody mentioned that I was just writing the dates with 2015 every week. It's 2016 now. Okay, I have some things to talk about. I have the status, demos. Who's got some demos? Somebody has some sound to share. It was Carlos. Sipke is not here. Nick is not here. Piotr is not here. I heard Benedek. I didn't hear Zoltan. Everyone's missing. Antoine is crying because he can't watch the game. Okay, good. Okay, let's do status. Status here from last week. So last week there was only one bug to fix to ship. I'm still working on that, but now there are more, you will see. So this was Sipke on the theme. I refactored the resource manifest for jQuery UI. I thought it had been done before last week, but apparently not. So this is Daniel fixing the... maybe a new bug we found. So fixing the jQuery UI resources on 1.10. Removing all the unnecessary scripts here. Apparently unnecessary. Yes, because now we ship the full package. And this thing also is unnecessary because we ship one big file with all the calendars inside. So you updated it. Okay, good. And it's in 1.10. Refreshed all gulp compiled resource files. Okay, just an update on the files themselves. Removing residual file identify dependencies context. Okay. Cleaning. What branch? Dev. Removing original files brought back during merge. Okay, thank you. Removing unnecessary file. Okay. Empty folders in several project files. Okay. Adding orphan files to their respective CS proj. Okay. So this was Benedek, I assume. Fixed execute widgets for 1.10. Yes. So the resources which pointed to jQuery UI widgets now should point to just jQuery UI. And this one requiring jQuery UI widgets will just do jQuery UI. So in 1.10, just use jQuery UI. That's the new recommendation. There are still the old resources which are defined, which point to jQuery UI just for backward compatibility, but now you should use just jQuery UI if you are using jQuery UI. Lack of file, so a file was missing. So now it's added. Localization without scope. Piotr is not here. So this thing is based on the change he did to allow multiple scopes in the same PO file, but it was missing the fact that if there was no scope, it would create a default one, an empty one. So now it's fixed. Adding permission check when uploading media from the admin. So in the admin there was no check for uploading a file, but you need access to the admin, so it's not critical. And it was not checking for manage own media. Now it's checking for manage own media. And it was merged into 1.10. Then Daniel worked on the gulp pipeline. So we merged 1.10 into dev first and the gulp pipeline in dev, updating the libraries, streamlining the pipeline, adding things, EOL, header, things like that, and also recomputed all the assets so that they comply with the new pipeline. This one, maybe you want to explain.
Yeah, so a while back when we introduced the gulp pipeline to compile the TypeScript files that are in the Azure Media Services module, there was some discussion, and Bertrand wanted to add also MS-Build support for compiling all the TypeScript assets. But it's really never been used because we also decided along that time that we would check in all of the resulting JavaScript files in source control. So whenever you build Orchard from the command line, it's really unnecessary to compile any TypeScript because the compiled output JavaScript is already in the solution at that time. And also, this only worked for TypeScript and not for less and some of the other things that we do in the gulp pipeline. So I had a discussion with Bertrand over the weekend about removing this again.
Okay, good. Good, so now TypeScript is also processed by the gulp file only, and not the MS-Build task.
Yes.
Fixed all build warnings with just removing references. Good. And a merge from 110, which contained this fix, to dev again. So that's good. Now, no, sorry, I will just open a new tab here. Now on the issues, Orchard, milestones one. No, why did I explicitly clicked on the none? So 1.9.3, I opened some of them just to confirm there are issues or not. Let me show you. Add media item recent show nothing. That's weird. So if someone can confirm or not confirm. So apparently when you add a media item, when you upload one, it doesn't show up in the recent page. Is it a new issue? Does it work? So we need to be sure if it's not a regression, but it seemed to work for me. Media folders are mixed in div tenant. This is weird. So he says that this is the same dev info from CA. I can't remember his name. Let me think. No, I can't. He says that you create a default tenant, you create another tenant, you create the same folder names in both of them, and it shows the files from the different tenants. So I have to check that. Image editor, this was open a few weeks ago, but I could not repro, and neither could Donald, I think, works for me in 1.9.3 and 1.10. The issue being that he says when you upload an image, you can't see the image editor shows an empty image. So I think it's a configuration issue. Or maybe, like he says, yeah, maybe an upgrade issue. So I don't think that's a bug. I will untag it from 1.9.3. Did I miss something on the chat? Sorry, I'm late. Nothing. Remove title part from template, content type, and make shape part. No. Oh, retargeting. No, not. We don't retarget to 1.9.3. That's true. We talked about it during triage. And I forgot. Oh no, I targeted it to 1.9x. I said okay for 1.9x. Who tagged it to 1.9.3? What the fuck, Zoltan? It's not critical. Doesn't break anything. So 19x, 194 if you want, but there is none, so 19x, and it, or maybe he's not here. Are you here? No, Zoltan is not here. Nope. So 19x, and if you want, when there is a 1.9.4, feel free to retarget.
But he's right, though, that there's probably not going to be a 194, right? Because the short cycle release is going to be 110 something.
I didn't think about the comment this way, since we won't have a 194. I didn't think about it, sorry. I read like we don't have a 194 and not we won't have a 194. Okay.
We should really have a 110x now.
We can put in, it's dev, 110x is dev.
No.
No. Right. Don't we have a 110x?
No, but we should.
Yeah. We should, because we have a dev, so we should have 110x too. But, no, you can work on 19x still. And 19x will become 110x.
You'll just rename it?
Yes, because that's what we do. We remove the previous branches, the previous working branches. We tag them saying, okay, it was 193, but yeah, or we can already remove it if we want, the 19x to 110x. Yes, well, no, it will be merged, and then we can branch from the merge.
From where?
From the 110, because the 110x will start from 110. So you can still work on 19x for this thing. We'll merge into dev, and then we'll branch a 110x.
No. Because
no. 110x is master. 110x is master. Okay.
Oh, master. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So we'll merge one. Fuck. I look at what we did last time. It was great.
It sounds good.
I need to switch context into branching, because it was exactly what it was perfect. That's not easy, but perfect. Yes, but this is what we have. We still have a 19x. All the 19x things will be merged into dev. So we should have a new branch already.
Yeah, there should already be a 110x. I can't see any other solution.
No, I think this will be 19x, which will start the 110x. But because we need to put all the changes from 19x into a 110x. Because everything which has been done, not breaking, will need to be in the 110x.
Yeah.
So you can still work with a 19x at some point. We might rebase that on top of master. You see what I mean? That may be the best solution to do. Rebase 19x on top of master once we have merged 193 into master, and rename the 19x to 110x.
You mean once we've merged 110 into master?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, because we merge 193 into on the 10, which is merged into master. And rebase. Okay. Okay, let me we'll merge 1.9.x 1.10. No. We'll merge. What is sure is 110 into master and rebase and rename it .x. Good. I think that summarizes. So this one, no more 193. This one, to be checked. It's kind of important. This one, I'm sure when we'll try to repro it, we'll see there is nothing important. And for 193, that's good. Now, 110. Packages configuration reference target framework 452, not 451. I don't disagree. I don't think that's a big issue because it's just new features in 452, so there can't be many packages which do different things for 452 than for 451. Still, we should do that. And it's easy to do, and it shouldn't break anything, so that should be good for 1.10. Good. So whoever wants to do that, Daniel, if you have nothing to, sorry, Gustavo.
I can do it. It's fine.
No,
I did it for the project, so I can do it for this.
Okay. Do you want me to assign you? Just.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Daniel.
Various. Sorry.
I was just saying thank you.
110 various modules to get packages from Orchard. So Daniel also commented on that. Yes, so the issue is that if you compile or if you restore the packages from the Azure solution, they will be put into the Azure folder and not the other folder. So then if you open the normal solution, then they will reference something which is in another folder. It's not that important. I don't think that's a big issue. I will not even try to solve it right now because, as Gustavo is mentioning, we don't suggest people to use the cloud service solution. At some point, we'll have to remove it. I don't think we should remove it in 1.10. It's too late. But in the next major version, we could decide to remove it if we enhance it, or just.
But in any case, what we should do is to correct the references that are pointing to the packages in the Azure solution folder right now.
How is that an issue? I don't.
Well, they are. If you haven't built the Azure solution, if you haven't opened it, then it won't contain any packages. So those references won't resolve. So if the projects have references pointing to that directory, that should be fixed.
So you say there is still an issue if we don't do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
It was just if we built if we did the package restore, no, the project. Okay.
No, what Gustavo was saying is that it already happened for these 3 projects.
Okay.
Yeah, so I downloaded the latest version in a clean directory and just opened up Orchard.Web.Solution and do a build, and you get these warnings with these unresolved references.
Okay. Yep. Okay, so we need to fix it. So I'll keep it to 1.10.
So do we need to figure out a good way to fix that? Because if we change those references, does that break the Azure solution then? Or do we need to move that Azure solution back to the root, the same directory where Orchard.Web is?
No, the Azure solution would already be broken because of all of the other projects that aren't referencing that folder. So I think what you have to do for now is to always make sure that you've built the main solution first, and then the Azure one would be, would be working. But there's no good way to solve this aside, except for having the 2 solutions in the same folder. I think that's just an inherent limitation of NuGet.
Yeah, agreed.
This one, after importing workflow, got JS errors and diagram broken. The JS error, this thing like JS plum is not defined. It's weird, so I have to try it. So importing a workflow. So I tagged it, so I will try to see if I can repro that. And nobody else has reported the issue, but it's possible. So let's see, and it's a breaking change. And this one, I'm already working on that, found the issue, and I need to update the gallery itself with new routes. So what I'm doing for the gallery, I will. So I created a branch based on 193 that will reference the submodules, and I will put it in the main Orchard repository. It's just a branch referencing the submodules that need to be shipped on the gallery. I could create another repository, but if we keep a branch, that might make things easier to build a gallery, a full Orchard gallery. We'll see. That's it for the status. Questions?
Yeah, the JetBrains annotations.
Oh, yes. So I took two notes. Two things. JetBrains annotations removed. Who did that? Was it me? And I don't remember?
I think I did it, but it was long ago.
Yeah, it was back in March last year.
So did we agree on that?
I believe we did, yeah.
Okay, that's why I was mentioning on the bug. Maybe we already decided to do that and I didn't remember. But because it's a breaking change, and then I had to reference it in the release notes that every module which was using that would be broken. Okay. It seems to be expected. You can close the issue, Daniel. Gustavo?
Yeah, it wasn't an issue. We were just talking about it on Gitter.
Oh, okay. You see, I don't even remember where we talked about. Also, new theme efforts, so for people to be aware of this issue. Remember last week we talked about creating a new theme as part of the target for 1.11, and Daniel, not Gustavo, decided to work on that, and he opened an issue here. Yes, this one, and as usual, he wrote a book about how he intends to do things. It's more documentation than what we have in Orchard about theming, and people are encouraged to comment on that. Oh, you already commented on my comment. So I commented this morning. I read everything. Took me a long time. Okay. Yeah, just a few ideas, just the overall ideas from what I remember, and the headlines. That's easier. So yes, visually appealing. So the goal was to have something usable out of the box that you can use without thinking, yeah, it's nice, I can ship my website with that. And I took, as a reference, I took the themes from WordPress 2010, 2015, for instance. This is the latest one from WordPress. You see, when you ship a website like this, it's generic, but you are not ashamed of shipping that this way. And every year they do another one. So there is a 2015, there must be a 2014. See, there must be a 2013. There's a 2010. It was very famous. So things like this. Generic, but unmistakably Orchard. Beautiful. Yeah, Ryan is helping Daniel also on this issue. What else? This one I commented, we'll see. Heavier or layouts, lighter on global zones. On layouts, lighter on global zones. So yeah, so the idea from Daniel is remove some of the zones that we have in the layout file. Like at least we all agree on the triple 1, 2, 3, the quads 1, 2, 3, 4, and all these things, because now we have layouts, we don't need them anymore, or very rarely. What I suggested on this one, I didn't see your comment, Daniel, and I think Pierre also agreed that we should not remove them all. They are useful for widgets. He mentioned navigation footer. I mentioned that too. We still need to keep messages because we need to render notifications. The ones I mentioned that I would like to keep or to add, left, top, right, and bottom of the content, just to have some sidebars for widgets. Even if we are using layouts for widgets, we need sidebars. Top and bottom, just to be able to inject something before and after the content. with widgets. And I was also suggesting something like outer left and outer right. Let me show you an example. Something like this, which is on the left. This is a column on the left, even of the navigation, if you had a top navigation. So outer sidebars. If you want to create a blog with, I have another example, like this, it's weird. You see something which keeps on the left. And if you want a menu at the top, then it needs to be a layout. Feel free to stop me, Daniel. I don't know what you answered.
Just forgot to mute. But yeah, I do like the outer left, outer right concept. I wonder, there are some questions that we need to decide if we want to make that into as a feature of a generic theme. I've listed some of them in my comment, but for example, what will happen to that zone when you go below a certain viewport size, for example? Should it snap to the top? Should it collapse into some sort of expandable hamburger menu like on the 2015? I guess the answer to that question depends on what you intend to do with that zone on your site. So I think it might be tricky to make a generic decision in some cases.
Yep, there needs to be a default.
Yeah,
I understand.
I also raised the question, maybe we could make it configurable. It's not impossible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And,
but as you said, if we explicitly mention what's the goal of this zone, then you can also explicitly have a default for this reason of the zone. So if we say it's for fixed on the left, just for informational and not a menu, then yeah, you can remove it under a specific media size.
Yeah, okay. That's true. Well, yeah, we basically just have to make some assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think it'll be tricky to have things to the left and the right of the content zone because it kind of diminishes the use that you can have of layouts.
I agree, but in this case, you can still use. You see, for something like that.
For something like this, I agree, but you also mentioned just left, right, top, bottom of the content. I agree with top and bottom. Like above and below is a given, but left and right of the content zone, I think we should stay away from it because it becomes tricky to control the layout of the page from the layout editor.
This is just if you want something like that, which is very typical.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a good idea in this new layout world that we have.
So what if you only render, like the theme machine, you only render it when it contains content?
Whatever, it will have to be like this, every zone, I assume.
Yeah, that would definitely be true. But there's also it's like, so how wide do you make that zone? Is it like a fixed percentage or a fixed width? And how do you treat it from a responsive
Same thing. You need to define a default behavior, and people and it's documented, and people need to be able to change it if they want configuration or customization of the theme. It's like everything; you need a default. So
I don't know,
but I will not see a theme without something on the right that I can put widgets on, like archives, like whatever, news.
But haven't we also made a strategic decision to try and move away from widgets in general? Isn't that why we've introduced elements for most of these things and widget wrappers as elements and things?
Global zones should remain. They are there to stay, the global zones. But we did say that we would unify the widgets and elements. So basically, you would at some point associate elements with layers and zones.
The concept is the same, but how to display them, there are two rules. There are the global layers rules, which is used by the widgets module, and the layout, the page-based, the route-based, which is a layout module. So, but what we want to unify is the way you build these things, elements and widgets. They should be the same thing. The logic to display them is different, placed or by layer.
Okay, and you think that we should combine both of these approaches in the same theme?
I think, as in Orchard 1, we need to be able to place widgets in zones like this, because sidebars are still useful nowadays, even and not on a page per page basis, but on a global site basis, like layers, authenticated users, or blog posts, things like that.
I do totally agree with that. I just think that they shouldn't be placed. They shouldn't occupy the same horizontal space. I think we should limit widgets to be below and above the content zone.
Yeah.
Because I think people want to, if you look at an example, if you go to the Bootstrap site and look at the commercial themes that they have now, it's sort of a side project that they've started, and look at the one that they have for a marketing site. I think if you go back one, in the top right, there's a themes link. Yeah, if you click on Explore themes, yeah, and then go down to the marketing one. So if you preview that one, it contains a good example of what I think most people want to do these days out of box, which is if you scroll down, you see that this page sort of has different sections, and the backgrounds of those sections span the full width of the page. And I think you, as a site editor, you want to be able to control that from the layout editor, which is why I think you want the full width of the page.
I agree. You want to be able to do that, and I will think also you want to be able to do something like this, and you will be able to do something like sidebars, your content and widgets on the sidebars, and you will still be able to do that. You see? So I would agree that maybe you want a recipe which will create a website like this, a recipe which will create a blog, a recipe which will create a more standard corporate site like this, or not content-based website like this. But yeah, layouts.
I feel like if we try to accommodate both of these needs in the same theme, we're gunning for too much. We're making it too complicated.
Why? Why can't you have a left and a right zone that aren't displayed if they don't contain content? Because then the content zone would span the full width. Sure, yeah. But the question is, so if you place something in those two zones, the content zone would be narrower.
Correct.
And then, so it would be up to you, basically, then as a site author to do only one or the other, depending on what you want your site to look like.
Right.
So we would, okay, it's possible, I suppose.
Yeah, defining those zones using Bootstrap, though, becomes a challenge because the container has to have like md-call-2 for the left sidebar, md-call-8 for the middle, md-call-2 for the right.
No, I don't agree. I disagree because you can nest containers. So you can still have your main container saying I'm 12. If it's inside something else which is 12, it will be 12.
Correct, so but we're not talking about nesting it. I thought you guys were talking about having the sidebars being outside of the content.
So there are two things. About the outer left and outer right, I'm not talking about that. Okay, let's remove outer left and outer right. Just right and left, below navigation, inside the main container. Below navigation, but on the right and the left of the content. Yep. Not outer left, not outer right. Because outer left, outer right, okay, they are very specific. You could add them to your theme, and that's fine. You can customize the theme to have.
Yeah, we don't disagree on those two.
But for the left and the right, just the standard ones.
Within the content. So within the main content, which is call-12, right?
I don't know what you call content, but there will be the content zone that is driven by the layout module.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about other zones outside of the content, which are not driven by the layout module. Just here for widgets.
Yeah.
Such as a site first and a site second.
Correct.
In the ThemeMachine.
Yeah, so what class would you give the content zone?
MD12, which is inside a container, which will contain MD0 if you want for the...
It could be MD12, but it could also be dynamically calculated, as is done with the classify in the ThemeMachine, depending on the contents of a site first and a site second.
That's what the ThemeMachine does, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so if we have these left and right zones that sort of push the content towards the middle, they have to be, the width of those zones need to be decided somehow in
Yes,
advance.
like a 3 or something like that. Correct.
Yeah,
There is
right. So it just seems so weird in a theme that we construct in 2016, where people can, decide the width of every column in the layout editor, that these two zones would be something that's specified in the theme.
That's a default.
Yeah, I guess if you don't use them, you don't use them. There's no harm.
No.
It just seems primitive somehow.
So this one has 300 installs. If you look at 2015, 1 million active installs. So 1 million websites accommodate with this thing today.
But this is a different concept, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
it doesn't
it's-
have that inside sidebar.
It has the same issue. That's what I'm saying. It has the same. They chose a default for a size. Then people can customize it if they want. But
But this construct I don't disagree with. I like this one. I don't like the other one.
I mean,
the other
it's the
one
same
wasn't
issue.
responsive either.
It's the same issue. The same size, the same default size. I'm just talking about you have to pick a size for your column. Yes, we'll pick a size for the left and the right columns. If you want to change them afterwards, do that. We'll pick a color. If you want to change it, do that. We'll pick a font if we want to change it, do that. But at least the defaults look great.
So what do you expect people to put in that zone then?
Widgets like news, latest news. If you have a blog, you could say latest comments, latest blog post, about me, something you have on the side.
But don't we have elements for all of those things today?
Yes, but as I said, it's about where they are displayed how. Let's say you have elements in the layouts.
Mm-hmm.
Every blog, every post you will create, every page you will create, you will have to put them. No,
it won't, because we have master layouts.
Yeah, but again, then you have to check which master layout for driving your content. I don't know.
Yeah, and there are the
And
rules
then-
maybe when
yes.
you want to display.
And if I want something which is not a content item, but like something like taxonomies, I have my list of taxonomies. I still want my list of news on the left of my taxonomies. And I don't have layouts for my taxonomies.
I guess we also have custom controllers to think about.
Well,
Yeah,
so
also don't
that's
forget-
why widgets work.
There are people like us, our PDP and PLP pages are completely outside the content system. So, that's exactly what they are. They're custom controllers, and we rely on widgets to basically present additional content, recommended products, whatever. So you're going to have situations. Widgets are great, especially if you need to add something to a group of pages, because you don't want to go and digging around in the layouts and adding the same thing over and over and over. Your content editors will kill you, and then someone's going to forget to do it somewhere. So maybe what we could do is have something where layouts could present something that the zone system would see as a zone. So you could shine through, if you wanted to expose a zone in a layout. I don't know if anyone's thought about doing that, but that might be an interesting way to solve both problems.
We suggested that a while back, actually. We even had a working prototype, didn't we, Sébastien, where you could designate a column as a zone, as a widget zone.
Yeah, and then
able to
those
place
zones
things
would
inside.
appear dynamically in the widgets screen, so you could actually add widgets to those zones. But nowadays you don't have to do that, since we can add widgets into the layouts. But ideally, you would, if you could assign zone names to columns on the layout canvas, then you would have some sort of merge between what the user can edit and how it would be rendered on layouts. But
We should also keep in mind, I think, that with the scope of this thing, it's a brand new theme, not something probably that you're going to go and enable for every single existing Orchard site that you might have running out there with tons and tons of widgets. We sort of have the opportunity to make a fresh start and say that, okay, if you want to use this for your new site, you're welcome to do it. Otherwise, you just stick with what you already use.
I would phrase it, if you want to put something in this zone, free for you, but you're not supposed to use this zone because you're in 2016. Still, there is a div if you want.
yeah, I don't think the master page would be too suitable for placing widgets that you want there. For one thing, it's currently still buggy, and of course we can fix that. But then also per content item, you would have to choose which master template, master layout you would have to use.
Yeah,
it seems more convenient with layer rules and zones to.
Yes, but it also has an inherent limitation, is that they are not positionally blendable. Like the content zone, the layout is one opaque rectangle on the page, and you can't have other things that blend into it. That's sort of the limitation that comes with that approach. And if I were to build a page, I would sometimes want a widget placed to the top right and the other stuff float around it, for example. That's something that you can't do with zones and the layout today.
Yeah, true. That's the limitation, exactly. But maybe we need some sort of system where you can, where you want to position some element in some zone, and yet have it associated with a content item. But at this point, I don't think it's a good idea to discard left aside first and aside second zones, or at the very least the aside second.
Not even for a brand new theme that's only really made for out-of-box sites, because you can easily you can customize it and just add another zone to it if you want.
That's what I'm saying. Let's forget about the outer right, outer left. You can always add these if you want because they're very design specific. But removing even a left and a right sidebar,
What is the difference between a left and right
it's
sidebar
just about
and a side
what is
first and a side second?
What is the content? Sorry. A side left, a side right is same thing as I call sidebars on the left and sidebar on the right. Yeah, the same thing. Yeah.
And also at this point, maybe layouts is more there for laying out contents, pieces of contents, rather than the entire website.
Okay, let's close this subtopic. I'll keep on my idea that we need these zones on the left and the right. George also mentioned we should not forget about widgets, so zones on the layout. We'll see. Other things, responsive. Yeah. Why should it be responsive? Who cares? Scope, the theme machine still remains. Agree. Cover all non-deprecated functionality. Agree. This is the tricky part. You are repeating that now when we do a module, we target the theme machine, but we should also define the template in this new theme specifically. Right?
Yeah.
Don't forget this. Don't forget the new theme. Also comes with new out-of-the-box recipes. Agree. So, to take advantage of the new possibilities and to show how people can do things. So are you mentioning some things? I mentioned blog and corporate sites. So I didn't distinguish in the corporate one like this, which is wide, full size with sections that you can use in a layout. To things like this. Oh, I clicked. To things that will use also maybe widgets, just to show that you can still use widgets. If you place something in the zone, that will disappear if you don't use it. Then skinnable, so you can configure how it renders. Make the site logo configurable from the admin UI. So everything here is just suggestions, but so changing colors, changing the fonts, adding more style, passing a CSS URL, things like that. I don't know how you intend to do that. I just commented that it should not impact performance, but we will agree on that. Meaning that every request should not look up in database to render stuff or read files and things like that. RTL support, I agree. Bootstrap or something. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, Ryan had an interesting point actually in the discussion, that he thought that branding assets like your site logo should not be a theme concern. It should be something that's provided by a module, or possibly a core module maybe, and then themes should be charged with rendering that if it exists.
I agree. It should. When you set up the site, you don't want to see an Orchard site. You want to see a site. There might be some references to powered by Orchard or copyrights like this, but yeah. If you have to change the configuration every time you set it up, it's better to do the opposite. Let people who want to show the Orchard logo add it because it's configurable.
Yeah, that's also a point. But he was talking more about as a matter of implementation, I think, that it should not be a setting that belongs to the theme, which logo you want, for example. It should be something that's theme neutral. So we might consider adding something to sites to just the generic site settings.
Okay.
Which is what's the logo of your site. Just like you configure the title of your site, you also configure the logo. And every theme needs to render that logo.
That's what we did. We have an additional admin stuff where you can add branding and name and blah, blah, blah. It should be site-specific.
And the theme could just ignore that if you want. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, in the 2010 from WordPress, you could change the banner because there was a notion of banner, but it was in the theme, not in the site. So let's forget. I will close that. And I think, I went down just to agree. So based on the framework, obviously, probably Bootstrap. 3.4 still open to question. I'm not opposed to 4. This is what I'm playing with on Orchard 2, and I haven't seen any issue so far. Built for modern browsers, I agree. If you want to target older browsers, then just change the theme to your needs.
Do you agree with drawing the line by I10?
Whatever line it is, yeah.
Okay.
Whatever you and Ryan say. Gulp, yes, this is there, it works fine. Creating one CSS in the end, beautiful. One script also, the Gulp file. As long as you can use the default assets.json pipeline.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, if you have to make something different, then we have to think, why is it not in Orchard? No compat with the theme machine, agreed, that was the goal. We don't care about compatibility with the theme machine. So then people commented, Piedon agreed also, said he wants the zones. And I also mentioned, it was not clear from what I read from you, if you suggested people not to inherit from that, or if a child theme was the preferred way to do things when you want to customize.
Well, I guess I said that should still be very much a part of the goal, that it should be easily inherited from and customizable from a child theme. Okay, good.
Well, there is nothing which prevents from changing it directly or inheriting. That's the goal. As long as you can do the two. Good. Secure agreed. Picture. Only zones, header, navigation, message, content, and footer. So Donald seems to say no side zones. Random comments we already talked about. That you answered, I will look at that. Yeah. Good. That's just to have a status check on that and let people know that there is this. So feel free to comment on the issue if you have opinions. Comments here. Well, I mean, Nick Bootstrap 4. Why not have multiple default themes at a WordPress? It's more complex than just saying there is a zone that is empty, and if it's empty, you don't have to care about it. It's empty. There is nothing inside. It won't render. If you want to place a widget, place it. So I don't think we need 2 or multiple themes. As long as we have recipes to show how we can do things, that's great. Even more if the recipe can change the configuration of the theme. So ideally, if you can render with the recipe a website like this, just to show how to do that, a blog, and maybe a more 90s in the 90s website like this, then that's great for people. Okay, good. Other comments? Are there theme recipes? Not yet, but a recipe, you can do anything. You can select the theme, you can define the content, the zone, the layouts, whatever you want. So So the recipe.
Interesting. If you wanted to set up a theme, for your example, like you wanted a theme that had a sidebar. Let's say you wanted an admin type dashboard theme for the front end. The recipe would be part of the theme that would execute to populate.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, also. But I think Daniel mentioned that you wanted to expose these recipes in the setup screen, because otherwise it's too deep and you will not find them.
What about, because like let's say you download a new theme and you want to enable that, and that theme comes with its own recipe to pre-populate.
Oh, this yes, you can totally do that. Yeah. So, and this is the difference between a core theme and a gallery theme. The gallery theme can't integrate in the setup, but we can. So we can provide with our core theme, the new core theme, we can provide some core recipes that will be exposed directly in the setup for people to create standard ones. And then if you create a theme based on admin LT, it could come with a recipe that will create lots of widgets and to show off all you can do with that. But it has to be a theme recipe. It has to. And also what you can do, that the core can't do, is depend on other modules that will expand the theme.
Right.
Like if you create a blog theme, you can download all the modules for blogging that we don't have in core. Yes, Haza, yes, you can already do that in 1.9, for sure, even 1.8. You create a recipes folder in your module and they will appear in the modules tab. Along with the modules, you will see features, modules, and recipes in Orchard. So you can already do that. For instance, if you
actually, yes, you can do that. You can do that for modules as of 1.8, I think. But for themes, that's new in 1.10.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay. I think I remember that it was pushed a few weeks ago, not that long ago. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Antoine. Yes, beautiful. Good questions. Demos. C'est quoi demo?
Not yet.
About the demos, so I can do a status on O2. If I switch, I won't lose my things. Here, status. So last week I explained that I was using cookies to support notifications in self-sessions and time data. And while I was explaining it and I was saying there was no security issue, I thought about the security issue, so I fixed it. I'm just using the new API in ASP.NET Core, which is iData Protector, that lets you create nonces like we do in Orchard 1. So you can just say protect, and it will use a machine key to encrypt using the machine key or something like this, something from the machine. So this way it can't be tampered, because the cookie will contain HTML which is directly displayed. So we have to prevent tampering. Very easy. Just for fun, to play with ASP.NET Core, I did, and also to show how to customize things, I did a CheckMarkModelBinder. So if in the query string you say foo equals checkmark, it will be bound to true, and this one, it will be bound to false. I saw that in GitHub. I think I talked about it at some time ago. Just for fun. Orchard.List, so I worked on the Orchard.List module to migrate the Orchard.List modules from Orchard 1 to Orchard 2. Did some changes to the module to simplify it with the agreement from Sipke and others, which is that right now, we talked about it during triage, the Orchard.List module by default will support a single content type in the list. It's a container thing, okay? Like a blog list will contain blog post content types. And it works. I also changed the admin menu.
But did you change that? Because that was already supported, wasn't it? That was configurable.
Yeah, it was. What you could configure was that you could select multiple types, and it will also complexify the UI, because when you say add new items, you have to select the type, and then it will add it.
Right. But no, there was code that noticed that if there was a single allowed type, it would improve the UI.
Still, I don't want to support the UI with selecting multiple things. That was to cut features.
Right. Okay, so yeah, that's now I understand your question, because you asked if how often I use that, and I never used it.
Yes, and I don't need a custom controller in the list module. I can use the main content controller now. And I also added a method in the main content controller to support the admin display thing. So you can now display as admin. It's called detail, I think, the action. So display is called detail, something like that in the admin, which is useful then, because instead of showing the editor for the blog, it will show the admin page, which is comprised by the list of its elements. And you can still edit it by clicking on edit. And then you will go to the edit page of the blog. So I'm trying to work on the list, and it works fine. Change some things. Yeah, refactorings, but nothing important here. So list module is on its way. Then created a delegate for the find placement, which used to be a funk of string placement info, and I was like, what is this string? What does it accept? Is it a display type, the whatever, stereotype? I don't know, so I made a delegate. So now it's the same thing, it's just that now it's documented, and we know that the first parameter is a shape, and then the differentiator, and then the display type. Okay, this way we know, and updated the interfaces accordingly. Beautiful. I added a ZoneTagHelper, and not a ZagHelper. A ZoneTagHelper. So you remember in Orchard 1 we had the notion of capture scope. So you could say @using and a specific zone name, like new capture scope and a specific zone name. So from any view or any shape, you could render some content in a global zone. So I made a tag helper for that, and it's used like this. So in any view, you can say zone and the name of the zone, write something, and this something will be written in the zone you are targeting. Okay, so from a shape, you could decide to add something on the sidebar, and you can also optionally put a position. So it's just porting some feature we had in Orchard 1 as a HTML extension helper, HTML helper extension to some tag helpers. And that's very simple code. The simple code is look at the name property, try to find the zone in the layout, and if you find it, then add the content at the position, the explicit position. Done. And use file, encoding, simplifying content zone rendering. So this is the code logic, nothing exceptional. Optimization. So this one optimizing how things are rendered, but you don't care, just using more features that are shipped in ASP.NET Core than trying to write complex stuff. Same thing here, less HTML with zone shape. So big change that most of you commented on, which is that now in Orchard 2 zones will be tagless. So when you create, for instance, a sidebar zone or a navigation zone, there won't be a div with the class name of the side and extra tagging. When you want to render a zone, it will render whatever content is inside the zone, no tagging. So there is no more zone dash and a div for that. If you want it, you override the zone shape, and you can do it. And it's as easy as creating a zone.cshtml, which just renders its contents. Very simple. Tagless zone shapes, again, with even lesser code. I broke the build, so I disabled that. And this one is working on the, so I talked to Bertrand, I'm trying to, I will show you next week, the content tree. I was working on the content tree. So the idea with the content tree status is that it will look like mostly Umbraco. I need a screenshot. Where can I get a screenshot of Umbraco? Not in 7.4. Oh, maybe this. So the ID, and this is what is done right now in Orchard 1, Sipke, you will correct me, is to have a left navigation like this, which has lesser items, okay, the main categories. So today, if we open Orchard, we have like 20, 25 items on the left and sub-items. So the idea will be that the first level is very limited in terms of items, like content, media management, settings, things like that. And when you click, you'd see a tree navigation of whatever is related to that. So if we could click on the content, we could see content definitions, we could see taxonomies, to list the taxonomies, and we could see anything that you want to add to be able to browse the content. And it's like the menu, so it's extensible, so feel free to add more things to that. And it's rendered on the server side. But it's rendered on the server side, but if you want the element to be also renderable on the client side, like it will contain many items, so it has to be dynamic, it's free to do that too. So your module could add an item which will have some client-side behavior, Ajaxy behavior. Yeah, the main thing will be the content, but Media Manager could use the same tree, the same navigation. So when you click on Media Manager, the tree that we have today in the Media Manager will be integrated with the tree on the left of the theme. That's the idea I'm working on, and I want to show you next week. Did I miss something? Comments? Nothing? Okay, nothing. But that's what I'm working on right now in this branch. Navigation. It's already working, I'll show you. And it's very simple to implement because this is a standard navigation provider, and the first level is very limited, but you just add it at the second level as many things as you want. And it can be
Should the user be able to configure which items to show, like on the left menu?
Yes, then that would be based on features that we want to provide. So if we want to provide this kind of configuration, let's implement the configuration. What I'm working on is rendering the menu. Then whatever you want to render is up to each feature, if it's configurable or not. So do you have some precise example to give?
Oh no, well you mentioned the left menu shows a few often used menu items. But since we have many menu items in Orchard, maybe it should be configurable.
I say on the left menu there are a few top level menu items. Mm-hmm. Okay, like content, media, settings. Let's say 3. Okay, and users maybe. Just that. And when you click, then you see more things.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I get that. I was wondering if that should be, since we're working on the new admin theme for Orchard 1, where we still have a lot of left side menu items. Okay. Could be maybe for Orchard 2 it could be made configurable, but I understand that's not what you're currently working on. I was just wondering out loud.
Yeah, the issue with Orchard 1 is that the menus are there. We have to cope with.
That will be a rewrite of the menu system.
In Orchard 2, if we tell developers, hey, don't add anything at the first level, try to find the category which is already existing as a first level and add it at a second level. Like taxonomies, for instance, very good example. So taxonomies is content, but it's in itself in its own top menu on the left navigation. In Orchard 2, it will be under the content main menu. So when you click on content here, there will be a taxonomy section here.
Oh, I see. So the module developer would have more choice, and they decide where the menu items appear.
Yep.
It would not be configurable by user.
No. Or it's a feature. If we want a menu item to be configurable, then we need to provide this feature. It will not be a global feature.
Right. Okay.
each feature will define if the menu items needs to be configurable,
Mm-hmm.
like the list module is doing today, where a list can be a top-level issue.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
See? And in Orchard.2 list, every list will be included here. So the blog will be included as a first level here. You don't have to click on list to see blog. You will be able to have blogs here directly. You see? So you won't see it's a list. It will be, oh, it's content. I have my blogs here. Okay, good. That's it. Questions, comments? Over time? Sorry. What did I miss on the comments?
We were talking about Orchard and what's the purpose, etc., the goal, the audience. Try to focus on the default theme.
Should I? Yeah, I will. Should copy it to see.
I mean, I think it's the thing, right? Everybody keeps talking about WordPress. WordPress chose to be a blogging platform, right? And now it's trying to get out of being just a blogging platform. And, I don't know what Drupal is out of the box by default. Joomla is supposed to be an easy website. So, what is Orchard? Well, Orchard's an awesome development platform for me as a developer. So, it's a tough one.
Yep. But, yeah. And we have recipes. It can be anything.
I think it's a matter of, a default theme targeted at a developer is sort of a contradiction in terms anyway, because anyone who's a developer is going to want to roll his own theme. And the people who are going to run a site on the default out-of-box theme are probably not going to be developers.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
I think the goal for the default theme was you can use it out of the box. You don't have any development to do. It's extensible, but it has to be nice and useful for the targeted websites types.
Yeah, but so that's the question that we're trying to answer. Use it for what? Use it for a marketing site, use it for a blogging site, etc. Because those two can be different.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think it should be flexible to support these things. So when Daniel showed us this theme, I totally agreed it should support this scenario. Okay, and the recipe should be able to show off how to.
That marketing theme, I love it. I think that if that was out of the box, that'd be awesome. Because then you can add the blogging module to it, and then you just add a blogging section.
Okay. At the same time, I think there should be a recipe to just set up a blog and have the widgets for a blog on the left, like we have today. And then you see it as a blog. Oh, and I can start a blog. Good. It's a
those two recipes don't necessarily need to have different themes, though. They could use the same theme.
I agree. That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah, we agree.
And if we have a third section which is more corporate, not 2016, but more standard with a sidebar, and you have everything covered. And yeah, that's the ultimate goal for me. For us to have this theme that it's flexible enough that you can support these three kind of templates.
Yes, that would be a good goal.
And there are zones to help on that, and also, as you say, configuration and CSS and things like that, and good. Then we could have a blue website like this and a green for the blog, and I don't know. So
yep. Choose your color on the setup screen, huh?
Maybe not on the setup screen, but at least I've seen on the comments that people like the fact that the setup is simple and doesn't have many steps, just one step. You type, poof, you have a site. You can change the setup to say expose the recipes as thumbnails or making them more obvious, because today nobody sees the recipes. There is a drop down, you see default, okay, next. You don't even understand what happens when you select something else. So maybe something like thumbnail would be more obvious for people to see what they will set up. But keeping it on a simple single page is fine with me. I like it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you can still achieve what you want to do, like custom sites with the same theme, and
yeah, I think that thumbnail would be really powerful if it is in fact changing the theme. It is the same theme, but it's going to be changing what's populated on it.
Yep. We are adapting the theme, configuring it. Yeah. Great. Yeah, we'll have a fake blog, we'll have a fake company, and it will be beautiful.
Do you think that we could use Contoso?
It will be our Contoso. It won't be called Contoso, but Orchoso or whatever, something like that. Yeah.
But doesn't Microsoft own the Contoso name?
But Microsoft doesn't own Orchard, or Orchard doesn't own Microsoft, so we can't use it. They won't sue us, but yeah, and yeah, we need to register the trademark after that. Okay, good. Thanks everyone.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
See you on Thursday.
Bye, guys.
Later, guys.